Welcome to Ripka Fly Fishing TV. Some of you guys have been here before. If you haven't, subscribe now. Hopefully you enjoy this. And today I've decided that, well, I haven't made a video in a while, so I am live. It's been like a month or something, I don't know. But so I was watching YouTube videos. I'm not going to say who or what, whatever, but they're telling us what we need for fly fishing, and I kind of think they're wrong and starting to rip you off. So today I'm going to do what do you actually need for fly fishing, in my opinion. Like, there's a lot of fancy stuff these guys were talking about, like you need to change your leader every time you change flies. You don't have to. You can. It's like, that was one of the things that was driving me crazy. But what we're going to start off with is, like, for beginners is how I'm going to do this. So if you're new to fly fishing, or if you've fly fished before, let me know and put your tips or something I miss. I'm gonna miss something, but put what I miss in the comments so we actually have a good video on getting started in fly fishing and what to do. But if you like this kind of video, let me know, because these are kind of easy to do. I can do these daily almost. Yeah, I'll do these daily if you guys like them that much for a while. First off, I'm going to start with a starter rod. Now, before I pull this reel up, it's very dirty because I don't use this anymore. So, here we go. This is the Redington Crosswater. I am by no means sponsored by Redington to say this, but for a beginner rod, I would say this is the rod to go with. Here, the reel is where they save you money, which is fine for trout fishing, especially in Pennsylvania. I don't know about out in like Montana and those big trout states, like big time. Can't answer those, but all the reel, really does is hold line. And sometimes you use it for a drag, but at the end of the day, you can just use your finger too. That's what I do. But I don't have the full rod. It's broken. I broke it. But this is the 9-foot. So what it does is you can nymph and dry fly. Pretty much the same. Neither one's better. I would say go with a 9-footer if you don't know what you like. Like, if you're new to fly fishing but you know you don't like nymphing, then you can go smaller and get more of a dry fly rod. I'd say like an 8-foot. I wouldn't get too much smaller than an 8-foot, because you will need the nymph at times. Don't just get your mind focused on dry flying. That ain't it. Well, it's it, but you're not going to catch the most fish. You got to be able to do multiple things. But that's what this rod does. It'll let you do both. You can nymph with it pretty good. For a beginner rod, it's like 140. I have no idea what the price runs, and I'm not going to put it. I don't know what they're running for, but I don't even know if they still make them, but it's good. This is a great rod. I've had this rod forever. I wish I didn't break it. That'd have been amazing. But so that would be my go-to beginner rod. I'd say line, get a floating line. That was a 5-weight, kind of all over the place. Those of you who know me, my conversations are like this. But it's 5-weight line. The reel, I'd put a new reel on it if you're gonna get fancy. But you can keep that rod. Like, you can buy it as a beginner rod, and then you can do anything. There's nothing that my Redington can't do that my Hardy, which is like 3 times the price, can do. It's just that one's more sensitive, which we'll get there in a minute. But next thing is this. It's a stick. It's a walking stick. Even I use a walking stick, because if you don't use a walking stick, eventually you will fall in. And I'm going to use the scare tactic here. Oh, scare tactic. Maybe we should have stayed in school over the summer break. But anyway, so you're going to fall in. It's going to happen. You're going to stumble on the stream. No matter what kind of bottom boots you use, you're going to fall in. It's going to happen. I use a walking stick. It helps me move around the stream faster. Now, I don't need it like your older fly fishermen do to help them stay on their feet, but you can cover water with one of these. You're not there doing like the shuffle or whatever other tactics you non-walking stick people use. It does get in the way. oh, excuse me, it is a place that you can get tangled, but at the end of the day, I like coming home, and to scare you, if your waders fill up with water, it'll either flip you upside down and your feet will be in the air or suck you right to the bottom. So, yeah, that should talk you into not wanting to fall in. If you don't want to fall in, or at least have something to help you from falling in, walking stick. It's a definite need in my opinion. It's not something you can, I'm gonna keep that here. But next, I got more here, but we're gonna go to the vest and the net. But if I'm starting out, get a net, get one of these like spongy or plastic nets. Don't get the, hold on 1 second. Okay, well, never mind. They're like wire nets or mesh nets. I feel like there's one over there, but I couldn't find it. So get one like this. Literally Walmart has these for $20. You can find these everywhere. Like, this is the kind of net you want. It doesn't hurt the trout. You don't get tangled in it. If you're gonna buy one net, you can get this one. Now the only problem with this one is when you catch fish that you actually legitimately need a net for, good luck. That's why I upgraded. For a beginner, this is fine. This is what Dad uses. It gets the job done. Finger got stuck in it. Wow. It's a Cortland. I don't know. I know you can get these at the Feathered Hook. I don't know their price, but I know Walmart's price because that's where I bought like 4 of these because they break super easy. So don't sit on them. Here's my net. It's an upgrade. Definitely not a beginner's net. This is like a guide's net because it's got that long handle. Let me put it here so you guys can see how big the basket is. It's 18 inches, the basket, I believe, from here to here. So it also has measuring on it. Again, not sponsored by Fish Pond to say this, but like it says like 22 there. It goes all the way down to 34 and 36. If I ever catch 36-inch trout, there's no way it's fitting in this thing, but hey, it happens. This is running like 140 price wise. Unless you don't need this as a beginner. You don't need a net like this. I just like it because with my longer rod, you're gonna struggle with your shorter net handles to actually net the fish and not have your rod tip bent. When the situation happens, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. You'll know as soon as it happens. Next is you need something to hold your supplies and stuff. I do not suggest keeping them in your waders unless you're only bringing like 1 box. I am trying to get rid of my vest and go towards a like satchel, fanny pack, whatever you want to call it, because these vests get hot. I'll put it on to pull my stuff out. They get toasty. Pair of pliers, they're nice. Definitely recommend having one. If you can find ones with the pins in the middle to pull split shot, yeah, right there you guys can see. If you can find that, that's nice. Boxes, put your flies in. I don't know what brand this is. This is the one I've used the whole time. They're nice. Your nymphs can go in there. It's like so. It's pretty self-explanatory. I have multiple ones. Another one you can get are these dual-sided ones. I put my mergers in here. It's just dual-sided. This doesn't get open much, but they both open. It's small and you can fit a lot of flies if you want to. I'm working out of this one. Currently, they make big ones, which I don't even know why I have this except for big flies. There's literally nothing in there. There's eggs and attractors and some drakes. But dry flies, you want to keep in these more open boxes. Now, this isn't the best way, but these are like $3 fly boxes. You can fit a lot of stuff in here, and it's cheap, and they don't float though, which I guess is a pro and a con. Another thing, especially if you're getting a beginner, you want split shot, which is in my waders. It's not a good spot for it, but that's where it is. Attractors, or strike indicators, yeah, attractors. Bluegill would probably eat this. They put one of those on a hook, you'd be golden. But right there, some foam attractors. Those are easy to use. I'll show you mine on here now, but I think I got a thingamabobber in here. Yes, I do. This is an old thing. This is legitimately the scientific name for a thingamabobber. Anytime someone says it, this is what they're talking about. So if anybody's like, that thingamabobber there, pull one of these out, it's funny. Not really, but I think it is. And finally, floating. Floating. Get some kind of floating if you're gonna begin. It's gonna save you a lot of time. It's gonna make it easier to find your fly. This is High and Dry Fishing Products, liquid floating. Not sponsored by any means, but you can get this at the Feathered Hook for sure. It ran $15.95. It'll basically float split shot. It'll float anything. It can be soaking wet. You can drag it under and it'll come back up and float. So that's my floating that I like to use. You need that. Now to get into the part that was irritating me in those other YouTube videos I was talking about, that were just ripping you people off. So here we go. Let me get into a spot here so you guys can see this. Hopefully not break my rod in the process. So there's this thing called a leader. We all know, most of you guys know what I'm talking about. So what I do is, because I nymph all the time, this is going to be hard for you guys to see, but there is a colored line. Those of you who've watched the channel have definitely seen it before. I run, it's probably like 3 feet of colored line off my leader, which is just a 10-foot leader. It goes down to, I believe when I bought it, it went down to 4x, but that's irrelevant because what I do is I take this monofilament strike indicator line and I find where it's the same diameter on my leader, wherever that is. It's not that important where, but you can feel it with your fingers. Wherever you feel it with your fingers, tied a knot, tied it up right there, and I ran this as long as I wanted, so I got the good change in color. So you can find it in different lights, because green sometimes you can't see and red sometimes you can't see, but you can only see one of the two. Then I run that to a eyelet or a tippet swivel, not an eyelet swivel. Eyelet's up there, but tippet swivel, which is just a little metal ring. You guys, hopefully here, we'll make sure you can see it. Ooh, right there, little eyelet swivel. Let's put you guys back up. Okay, you guys are good to go. So, completely lost my train of thought. This will sink, but it doesn't sink that much. With all this line, monofilament right here, monofilament will float. Fluorocarbon does not. So the monofilament will sit on top, and that little ring doesn't weigh enough to put it down, and surface tension on water, this is getting smart, that ring hole isn't very big, so it will just float on top. So that's what you need. You do not need these fancy leaders, and there's no the math calculation to get the flip down so it rolls over. That's not, it's with your wrist. Imagine throwing darts or something where you just snap your wrist. All you do is snap your wrist. Okay, I got way off topic there, but so this eyelet swivel, like I just said, will float on top with the surface tension, but when it gets tangled or it's not shooting your line with your leader, like that tapered, I saw one person said there's like a calculation, like your leader from your fly line shouldn't be longer than your rod to your fly. Currently, mine's half the rod length more, and that's how I like it, because you can cast for days. If you want to be able to cast really far, it's not strength, it's just that big loop More line you have out, the slower you go. So you can watch your back cast if you need. As you're going, when you're ready to cast, make sure you have line slacked on the water. And then when you're ready to go, release your finger. This is what I do. Release my finger, what that's holding the line in place, and snap your wrist. It's not like a arm motion at that point. It's just the quick, I'll get it down here so you can see. It's just that quick little like whip, and you pause it right here. You don't let your arm continue. You just pause, and that'll allow your line to shoot out. I don't feel that it's a leader deal because I fished for a while and my dad's fished for a while. I've never changed leaders unless I tore it all the way back to the fly line. It's the only time I change leaders. So, in my opinion, you can catch fish, you can cast fine. It's fine. It does need to be tapered. Now, for bass, I tried to do just fly line to 20 yards, or not 20, yeah, it was 20 yards of, I think, 20-pound test. No, it wasn't 20 yards. It was just 20-pound test. Dyslexic here. It's fun. But, so that wouldn't cast. It doesn't flip over. It does need to be tapered. That's key. And if you want to cast really, really far, get tapered fly line. Get tapered floating fly line because it's front heavy and it'll cast forever. You can cast as far as you can physically cast. Legitimately. Like if you could stand in an open field and cast, you can cast it. But floating line would be my suggestion because then you can dry fly. You can nymph on floating line, especially in a floating leader. You can Euro nymph if you want to. Now remember, Euro nymphing is not always the best thing to do. That's why I do carry the strike indicators. I like to Euro nymph, but there's times you can't straight line to your nymphs, and that's when you need a strike indicator of some kind, or strike indicator, fancy word for bobber. You could literally put a bobber on the line, and as long as it stays, it'll work the same. But just like if you're under a tree or something, there's times to get the fly where you want it, you can't be a straight line above it, and that's when I like to throw on just a little foam indicator and call it a day, because that'll allow you to see if you get hits. But all in all, thank you guys for watching. If you want something more in depth, I know I just ran through stuff, but if you want a more in-depth video on the leader and how I set my rod up, which is a 10-foot, because I prefer the nymph more than I dry fly, but I can dry fly just as good with this 10-foot as I can with an 8 or a 9-foot. So let me know what you guys want to see. I like doing these videos. I also like making the fishing videos, but it hasn't rained in a while, so it's kind of been difficult to go out trout fishing because you got to be careful. Stream temps are getting hot. It was like 100 Sunday, so you got to be careful. Trout can't handle that stress. You can fish still, you just got to be super, super careful. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate when you guys like and share this video with your friends, like on Facebook and stuff. That means a lot to me. But anyway, make sure you subscribe, like. If I miss anything or if I didn't hit anything as well as you want, let me know in the comments. I'll actually check it and make a video hopefully answering your questions. Please give me questions because, yeah, I can answer them, hopefully. Or find someone to answer them. Maybe we can get a guest on here. Maybe we'll see if my father would like to be in a YouTube video, which I don't see going well for those of you who know him. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to go show the Feathered Hook some support for you local people. If not, call them in, make a trip up here. You can stay there, you can fish Penns Creek. My opinion, the best stream ever. You can do anything in it. But anyway, I'm really off at this point, but thank you guys for watching, and peace.